Well, we're back again, and this time I got some good news. That's good. That's still good. Last good news, we had that car start and not run after a few minutes, but I figured out the problem. I've got it running. I've left it a couple hours. I'm back down just to make a follow-up video. Sun's shining. I made the video this morning after getting the car fired off. I said for the first time, but technically it was the second time because, as you know, in the very first video I made, the car started and ran for a second or two and shut off, and that's when we found out we didn't have spark, and that's the chase we've been chasing. But I just want to say, look, guys, when you have a problem, it's just especially on these old cars, you can't give up. You got to stay with it. You got to keep chasing it. And I know there's a protocol, and there's guys that know a whole lot more about wiring and checking and testing things. And, I know you can think it's one thing and go buy that part and find out it's not, and you've spent your money, right? You spent your time and your money. You can test things. I'm not real good at that. You can test things with a voltmeter, ohm meter, test light, what have you. And I've done some of that. But my saving grace was I have that other car right there, and I can basically say, hey, let's change this part with that part and see what happens. I'm only out my time, and I'm disproving and proving things as I go. So sticking to it, walking away when you're too frustrated, coming back when your head's clear, and just sorting and figuring and sorting and following up. It's just a process. And I'm pretty happy that I've gotten to the point that I'm getting ready to show you. I came back down earlier and was up at the house, frustrated over the car starting to run, and then just started it shut off. But after I got it started back up, you saw the air breather, this air pipe, come off of the throttle body, and the car turned off. You can slow it down in the video and watch it. That thing comes off and the car stops. Well, I put it back on and the car still wouldn't run. It sputtered and jumped around. I must have twisted that distributor 100 times and got back in the car and tried to start it, got back out, twisted it again, tried to start it, and back and forth and back and forth. And I was so pissed off because I just don't get how it can be working. And now next thing you know, it's not working. Well, going back to the high level of frustration, I went up, ate some lunch, came back down, and I thought, I've got that gas tank laying under the car. It's just laying down there, right? We left it loose. What if the angle of that tank isn't allowing the car to get fuel? Could that be a problem? The gas gauge, as you saw in the video, is reading E. So I'm thinking, well, I know the other day it was reading a quarter of a tank and it hasn't been running. So, maybe let's just get back up underneath there and level that tank out. Let's get it level. So it's level. I got an air cleaner and a couple pieces of 2x6, and it's rigged, but it's level. After studying the old tank, I see that the way it was angled under the car, this side was up like so, and all the fuel was going to this side. So, yeah, I was basically making my own problems. I was basically giving myself an empty tank of fuel. And I'm cranking and cranking and cranking and cranking, and it ain't firing. And I'm like, what's going on? Thinking it's timing. All right, car's cold. This is my hands on the header. Car's cold. I've been up the house for about an hour. I told you I put the tank level, got it setting right. I've got my gauge that's now reading properly, quarter of a tank, and let's see what happens. This is what you want. After this much time, this much energy, this much effort, this much troubleshooting, it's running like it was this morning when I first got it to go. It's running smooth. It's not shaking, other than what I would consider normal. No weird noises. Pretty quiet. I don't even have that sound coming off the header that I heard this morning. I don't even hear that anymore. So guys, girls, people, YouTube land, we finally have a running car. And once I get that fuel tank strapped up, I can't get the straps back on. Like, we couldn't get them to reach. I don't know if the new tank is shaped differently. You know, we're reusing the factory straps, but the tank is aftermarket, and I cannot get, no matter how much power I put on it, I can't get the strap close to the bolt hole for the bolt to go in. So I'm going to Tractor Supply in a minute. I'm going to get some longer bolts to make up the difference, and see if we can't get the tank up under it secured and take this baby out of here. And this thing's, I don't know if y'all know this thing's sitting in a barn in my backyard. I bought this car in October. Just went back and looked. I can't remember exactly when it was. I knew it was in the fall. Bought the car in October. It's now March, like 7th or 6th or something like that. And I bought it with a story. And the story was, the car was brought to West Virginia from Utah. The guy was driving it one day, and it just shut off, and he said there was some smoke or something coming from over here near these wires by the starter solenoid. And that's how I bought it. I didn't have anything else to go on. I just had his story. I had what I could see, which was, you know, it's an old Mustang, supposed to be an SSP. You know, I confirmed that after a little checking, you know, confirmed it was a former police car, a highway patrol car, but I didn't know if it was going to run. I didn't know what it was going to take. All I knew is when you turn the key, nothing happened. Like, there was no fuel pump pumping. So, you know, we started with that. And I was like, well, if we're going to pull the tank down and do a new fuel pump, let's just replace the tank, not knowing that this tank was completely, you know, nasty and full of stuff, you know. So yeah, did that, got the tank in it, got some gas in the tank, turned the key, had the fuel pump action like we all know about, and then you saw what happened. The car started, the car ran for what, 2 seconds, 3 seconds. She shut off, and now for the last month or so, 3 weeks to a month, I've been chasing no spark. I've borrowed parts off my other 90. I went to O'Reilly's and bought a TFI. I actually said earlier that I bought a relay. I did not buy the relay. I ordered the relay, this one here, from O'Reilly's, but I never went and picked it up. So I'm going to go ahead and get it for a spare. But I did not need that relay for this success story. I did not. But to recap, you know, I started with the coil. I brought a coil out of the other car that was quickest and easiest, and that didn't do anything. Then I did some more research online, and I switched the computer with my other car. That didn't do anything. Then I read about the ignition switch problem that Mustangs had back in the 90s, where literally the ignition switch was, this thing's running so smooth. The ignition switch literally was like getting loose and separating between the two halves, and when it would get so loose, you'd lose contact, and it was like kind of like the same symptom as you turning the car off, basically turning it off with the key. That was happening while people were driving down the road, for the research I was reading up on. So I had another column up at the house with a switch on it, pulled it out, put it in, you know, half an hour, no difference, back, you know, still back to no spark. Then so now we're coil, we're ignition switch, we are relay over there, I switched, we're computer switched. Then we go and buy our first part. We bought the TFI module from O'Reilly's, somewhere over here, Master Pro. As I stated, you know, can this be bad? I mean, is it good or is it bad? You don't know. You assume it's good, but until you try it, you don't know. So now I've got this Motorcraft TFI that I took out of the car that we have to presume is still good. So now we're TFI module, we're still checking, we got nothing, we got no spark. You know, we've confirmed the coil wire out of two different cars, just making sure something that simple wasn't the problem. And then it came down to, do I change the distributor? You know, there's another component in that distributor that does go bad. Is that what it is? Could it be? Do we want to gamble with trying to pull a distributor out of this car that doesn't run and take it out of my really, 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 really good running 1990? Do we really want to gamble with making this car run right again after taking its distributor out? You know what I mean? Do we or don't we? I didn't want to, and I had to talk myself into it. So I pulled them. I switched them. I did everything the way I read online. I marked everything up to try to keep everything in line with the rotor and this and that. I put it in here. The car fired up immediately, like you saw. That was live. It ran for a few minutes and then it shut off. You saw it. And I could not get this sumbitch started and get it to run right for 30 minutes farting around with it. Look at it right now. I don't know how this audio is going to come out, but this car is running now. I'm talking 13 minutes in right now, and it's running, and it's idling, and it's smooth. I don't know anything about timing. I don't have a timing light. Don't own one. I've never timed a car in my life. But here it is. So where does that leave us? What are we going to do now? What's the next step? Well, temperature 140. Temperature over there. This gauge doesn't seem to work. It's completely sitting still. These guys are working. I'm going to shut the car off. Where do we go from here? What do we do? What's the next step? Well, now that we have success, we have to get that thing remounted back in the car. This box came out of that hole. Has to get back in there. This is my other computer from the other car. It has to get back in that other car. This is all of the dash bottom trimmings that went underneath the steering column. Guys, I laid on my back. I'm not a little guy. I freaking pulled wires. I searched with a flashlight. You know, I'm looking for like mouse chewings on wires. I'm leaving no stone unturned at this point. I mean, you can't. And I got this thing. I'm like, what is this? This was underneath the hood. I don't know what that is. Has that got something to do with it? Turns out it's the distributor this whole time. Now, I went a long road to get there. But now that I'm here, you just have to keep pushing. You have to just keep looking and keep thinking and keep, hate to say the F word, but, just keep doing stuff. So, what's going to happen? All right, today, Saturday, I'm getting ready to go to Tractor Supply. I've got the bolt out of the gas tank strap that held this sucker up in there. I'm going to go get a longer bolt to try to get that straps up so I can get the tank off the ground and I can move the car. I've got no fans. The previous owner put this big electric fan. It's a single fan. I mean, look at the wiring. All right, we have twist wires. No tape, no nothing, no solder. And it's just two wires here. When you take these two wires and you touch them to the poles on the battery, the fan comes on. So I need to rig up a way to cool the car. It's still winter, we're in Virginia. It's in the 50s today, but, I want to drive the car. I want to change the oil. I want to change the plugs and maybe the cap and rotor, but right now I don't even really care about that. I want to take the car around the block. I need to put the battery tray back in, and the battery's just kind of sitting in here. No tray. The tray is underneath that lamp. So yeah, got to get the battery tray back in. Got to put this wiring back. I've got the fusible links I repaired. I need to do more of a permanent repair with those guys so that they're safe. I need to get a way to cool the fan. I need to get this BBK thing where it's not going to fall off again. I need to get the tank up and tight. I need to put all of the trim, that I took off to get into all these nooks and crannies to look for problems. None of it's hard, but it took a lot of time if you add up all the time I spent getting all of these things out. I have to put it all back now. It's going to take some time. Yeah, I'm going to get some fresh oil. Maybe some seafoam in the tank to help with the injectors, because if the tank was that nasty, and let's hope the filter was catching everything that was in there, but old fuel is old fuel. We don't know what we've got as far as clogged injectors or injectors that aren't firing properly. No, we don't really know right now, but that's the next step. Progress equals what's next. That's the most important. And to me, the most important thing is to get it buttoned up enough to take it out and drive it. I want to drive it around the block. I want to air up the tires. They're skins. I'm going to see if I can show this. That's my pants ripping. There is absolutely zero tread on this tire. They're low on pressure, and they are. We've all heard of slicks. These suckers are slicks. I mean, how do you even get that little tread? How is that even possible? I mean, that's freaking, there ain't even a stitch of tread on there. So no, I'm not going down the highway, but I want to go around the block. I want to drive it out of this building, I want to move it. I want to be able to blow out this dust and dirt that's in here. I want to be able to get in it, turn the key, and it start. I mean, it's a great feeling finally. Hell, I might even wash the damn thing. But I appreciate everyone that's watched my videos. This has been a real, chronological order of events. I wished I would have been able to make a video of the day I went up into West Virginia into the mountains to look at the car and put a deposit on it. I wish I would have been able to show you where it was at, how it was sitting out in the field. And I've not cleaned the car. I've not done anything to it. But I did find these license tags in there. They're from 2012. I can't be sure if those were the last set of plates that were on it. There were plates on it when I went to West Virginia, but I don't know what the dates were on them. But those were in the trunk. And something else that's kind of cool. You see that? That line? That's water. See it? That headlight's had that water in it since I bought the car. I bought the car in October. How it got in there? These are forward lights. How that water got in there, I don't know. But it hasn't been able to get out of there. So that's another little thing I'd like to do. I'd like to get in there and pop that light out and empty the water out of it. And it's a working light. Still works with that water in there. But I like to buff the lenses, get them cleared up a little bit. I did this one. I hit this one with the buffer just to see if it would come around some. And it did. So, guys, there's a lot of things to do. It's just, what do you want to do? Now that it runs, do I want to fool around with trying to do something with this? Do I want to buy some of this trim that's all messed up? What do I want to do? Do I want to make the car pretty? Do I want to go find the factory radiator, fan shroud, fan blade, and get all that back in here the way it should be? I don't know. Do I want to put the windshield wipers on it? Do I want to call my glass guy and ask him if he can put a glass in here and take these moldings, these metal things off that everybody knows is a pain in the butt? And can he do that without ruining my molding? I mean, I've got a lot of things here I can do. Wipers, glass, fans, headlight water. I mean, I'm rattling off stuff as I go, and there's just, it's pick your battle. What do you want to do next? I mean, I've done the hard work. I've done I've got the car running. I want to do something that's not so tedious now. I want to do something that's a little bit more rewarding. Maybe wash it. Maybe see if there's any shine underneath that dirt. Maybe take the wheels off and run them down to the tire shop and get a set of 4. Actually, though, when I say that, the rears are, I think they're Firestone fuel fighters, but they are, I have to check them for dry rot, but the rears are like brand new. I don't know. Again, you know how date codes are and dry rot, and they could have great tread, but if they're rotted, you don't want them. You don't want them between you and the road. But for sure, tires. There's no sense in putting tires on a car that doesn't run. There's no sense in washing a car that doesn't run. There's no sense in, doing some of these things. Yeah, I was bored and polished the headlight, but that's just because I was bored one day. I was trying to get my mood better after a day of unsuccessful no spark chasing. So I'm rambling on a little bit. I just feel good now. I feel good. I got to get this car. Don't forget. This is my 90. This is 90 notch. This car's a really cool car. Now I got to figure out getting the distributor back in it. Do I put the SSP distributor in this car? No. Hell no. It's bad, right? So where am I going to get the distributor to put back in here? Do I buy a new distributor for this car and leave this car's distributor in the SSP? You know, that's a factory Motorcraft distributor like this one. This is the Motorcraft with the factory or with the aftermarket TFI. Somewhere I've got to get a distributor. Do I want an aftermarket like cheapie in my other car, or do I put this one back in my other car where it came from and put the cheapie in this car, like the Chinese reproduction? I got to get that sorted out. But yeah, I'm talking too much. I'm going to cut this off. I'm going to say thank you for, if you joined my YouTube channel or you saw my videos because I posted them on wherever and you came to watch, I mean, we're going to keep going with this car. We're not finished. We're just going through the hurdles right now. But now we know it runs. Now let's see if it drives. So join my YouTube channel. I don't like watching YouTube channels where guys are always begging to subscribe and click the bell and this and that. But seriously, freaking subscribe. What do you got to lose? We're going to have more videos on the car. We have more cars. We have a lot of cool cars that we're going to be working on. We've got this car, 90 notch, that has to get put back together. We've got my Jeep Scrambler that has been sitting in my barn literally for years. It's got a new engine. It needed an engine. I've got the engine on the stand right there. I need a weekend to get that in that car. I've got plenty of other Mustangs, plenty of other cool cars. I've got a C-Ray boat we're getting ready to start on. I've got a really nice 76 Ford that is in the woods, literally in a tree row, that I bought, that we're going to be dragging out and getting going. If you like Mustangs, I mean, look at this one. Okay, got lots of cool stuff. Got lots of things to entertain. Got lots of things to talk about. I'll show you the 76. It's an F100. It's 400, 4-speed. It's rust-free. It's green, but it's really not green. It's supposed to be black. Short bed. 4-wheel drive. I bought this years ago. I mean, it is rust free. There's no rust on it. But we're going to be getting it out of the woods. We're going to be getting some tires on it. We're going to be putting a battery in it and a carburetor. And we're going to be getting it going. We're going to get this thing to go. This is Rubicon 03. If you like Jeeps. All this stuff's coming up. All this stuff's here. It's neglected. It's sitting around waiting for me. That boat, it's spring. It's got a brand new motor in it. I got a problem with the motor where I get an alarm at like 3,500 RPMs. I don't know what it is. It's a sensor or something. I've got to figure it out. I'm gonna capture that. This is my Coyote GT California Special. It's got some, they say that this soot stuff's from wildfires out west. The weatherman was talking about it today. I've got my square body. That's also a project car. I've got lots of cool projects. So keep tuning in. I'll keep making videos. How about this one? Jeep Wrangler LJ. So this is the long wheelbase TJ. The TJ was the regular Jeep, and they made the LJ, which is the unlimited. So it's an unlimited edition Rubicon. So it's longer wheelbase. They drive better, you know, they handle better. They only made these LJ Rubicons, well, they only made the LJ Wranglers from 2003 to 2006. And I want to say, God, I don't want to tell a mistruth here, but I want to say that the Rubicon version of the LJ was 2004, 2005, and 2006. So 3 years. Now they started making the regular Jeep Wrangler TJ in 1997, I believe. So 97 to 2006. But the LJ was only 4, 5, and 6, I want to say. And the regular Rubicon edition of the Jeep TJ, that started in 03, and that black one in the woods is an 03. It's the it's where it all began with the Jeep Rubicon, the 2003 triple black interior, black paint, and black hardtop. That Jeep needs to be indoors. I just don't have the space. So what we're going to do is we're going to motivate ourselves by making these videos, and I will get this stuff posted and entertain you guys. So sign up for the entertainment. Take care. Bye.